What's up, you guys?
Let me start by saying this card is not Maxx. There's a new hand trap, you guys, and it's very rare I ever do card discussions. You know this. I will do topic discussions, I will do top 10s, I'll do top 5s, I'll do all these kind of crazy things, I'll do deck profiles, I'll do live deck profiles, etc, etc. It's very rare I do a card discussion, but I couldn't resist. And the reason is because my next video is actually going to be talking about could Maxx come back. And that video is still coming, don't worry, we're going to do that, I already promised you guys. But this new card, its name is Null Nun and Blooming Dogwood. It's a nun, so that's crazy. And it's a water, and it's a zombie, and it's the next Ghost Sister. A couple channels already made videos on this. I really enjoyed their videos. I watched them. It'll give me a little information for this. And like I said, I rarely do these discussions, but I'm going to see if you guys like this. If you do, maybe we'll continue it. I think when a card is really impactful, I'll do it. I'm not going to do it for like every other card that comes out. If it's a card that's going to impact the format of the game in any sense, like in a big way, I'll definitely do it. So let's see if this does well. If it does, hit it with a thumbs up. So we're going to read the card. We're going to talk about what it does. I'm going to talk about its applications because, man, I got a lot to say. But like I said, we preface the video by saying this card is not Maxx, even if it wants to be. So, level 3, Water Zombie Tuner, 0 attack, 1800 defense. You guys should be used to this. And its effect is you can use the effect of this card's name once per turn. It's a quick effect. You can discard this card, apply the effect for the rest of this turn. So this card is like Maxx in the sense that it does linger. It is one of those lingering hand traps. The other lingering hand traps are Joel and Lockbird and, what is it? Artifact Landscape. Like anything that'll linger for the turn. And Maxx itself, of course. Okay, so each time your opponent special summons an effect monster or monsters, so key word right here is effect monsters. I know most people aren't playing vanillas, but just in case, like you're playing against Blue Eyes, this card doesn't work, but just listen. Every time they special summon effect monster or monsters during the main phase or the battle phase, you gain life points equal to the current attack of that monster or monsters. That's right, you gain life points. Other effect, if you do not gain life points with this effect, have your life points during the end phase. This card is not Maxx. This card is weird. And I say that because I like it, but I kind of don't like it. We'll talk about the good things about it and the bad things about it. So the first good things, all right, it's a new hand trap, whoop-de-doo. What I like about this card, and this is something that Cap G brought up in his video, this card is actually the perfect counter to all these burn FTKs. The slash draw FTK, the original Cannon Soldier FTK, any of these things that loop you and burn your life points. What I like about this is you can discard this and then you're just going to gain every time they special summon. And let's face it, all these decks, they just spit out infinite monsters. With Firewall, they just spit out infinite monsters and it was crazy. But that is not Maxx, and that's one of the other things. But I do like the fact that this card, you know, it has a very, like, I guess, like, kind of new effect. I haven't really seen a card like this that lets you just kind of have a direct counter to these FTKs. And in my head, I'm like, does this mean that because of this card's existence, because of this card being printed, you know, coming to the OCG and then coming to us, does this mean they're not really going to do anything about any more of the FTKs? It made me wonder. Like, decks like Gem Knight FTK still exist, Slash Draw FTK still exists. Now, does that mean that because a card like this exists, and this is a card that we'd be able to side deck and or main deck, most likely side deck, does that mean that there's no reason to hit them anymore? I think people have talked about, you know, hitting Saryuja, hitting the, you know, the cards that, you know, get you to that FTK. But I mean, now with this card being printed, does that mean they won't touch them? Makes me wonder. I really don't know. But what I do think is that this is kind of cool that, you know, this has this new effect. This to me is new. I've never seen a card that actually lets you just like gain those life points for every card summoned. Now, another thing with this card that I like is that, you know, of course, they are continuing the Ghost Sisters thing. I like the fact that this card, you know, can get you back into the game if you're low on life points. You know, if you're about to lose, you know, you can come back with life points. But, you know, outside of that, there's not too much I like about it. I do like that it hits the, you know, the FTK decks in a sense. And, you know, it is a good counter to it. I'm hoping that doesn't mean that they don't, you know, deal with the problematic cards. But that's kind of cool. But then we look on the other spectrum, the things that are not good about this card. Number one, this card is not Maxx. I know, it's the whole, like, you know, the whole, like, theme of the video. But yeah, this card's not Maxx. So instead of drawing cards, we're getting life points. That kind of sucks. I want Maxx back, you know, after seeing this. But, you know, okay, so there's not that. Another thing that sucks about this, here in the TCG, we have the time rules. And you know what the time rules mean? End of battle, you know, end of your phase, freeze play. If you guys have played in the YCSs or regionals, you know what I'm talking about. Freeze play, continue and end the game with the current phase. That's it. So that means this card, your opponent can discard it. And then at that point, you can decide if you're going to special summon or not. If you're up in life points, you can just say pass. Game's over. If you special summon once, they gain life points. They might win because of it. That's pretty crazy when you think about it. That's pretty nuts. I feel, unfortunately, because of a card like this with this crazy design, I feel that the card is going to be abused, especially here in the TCG. It is going to be abused, and that is not a good thing. People could say, oh, Maxx was like the vein of all evil, but nah. Like, Maxx might have been the difference between you winning and losing, but this is literally the difference between you winning and losing with a simple discard. My advice playing this card, do not preemptively drop this card. If your opponent is smart and they don't need to special summon, they won't. However, I think what I like about this card is that you can guarantee it resolving if you activate it to a card that would special summon. When you, like, say, the most blatant example, activate Monster Reborn, chain Nun, and, you know, you gain the life points of whatever they summon. They could choose to summon something. Now, I think this would be funny. Think about this scenario. You chain it to Monster Reborn. Your opponent has the selection of something from their graveyard to your graveyard. What if they reborn a monster with 0 attack points, like an Ash Blossom, like a Nun, and then they just end their turn? You know what happens? Your life points get halved, and you lose. I don't think anyone even thought about that. But isn't that crazy? That if you do not, it says in the thing, if you do not gain life points with this effect, have your life points during the end phase. So at the end of that, it's just, that's it. Like, that's so crazy to me. It's the fact that, okay, this card can win you in time, for sure. It can get abused, but it can also just outright lose you the game because of little niche interactions like that if your opponent chooses not to play into it. But I think it's pretty crazy that a card like this was designed. I think, unfortunately, like I said, it's going to be abused here. I like it for the fact that it stops the FTKs. It is a direct counter to them, and I think that's really cool. I think that it was something that I think a lot of us didn't expect. I think John and other channels brought up, you know, we thought they were going to do something to the graveyard. We thought they were going to do something to the banish pile. We thought they were going to do something new, and this was just not what I was expecting. I was definitely not expecting a hand trap that is directly resolving around life points. And, I mean, it'll be interesting to see what it does. Now, here in the TCG, again, it's gonna be abused, and oh my god, like, just thinking about it, like, it's gonna suck. And it's going to suck because of how people abuse it. We already know how bad the time rules have been since they first, you know, came into existence, with how Trick Stars just abuse them. And now it's kind of like, well, if you're playing a deck like Gemini FTK, you're playing Tricksters, you're playing anything like that, like, your opponent is just going to side this card, and they're just going to, you know, be like, okay, cool, you want to burn me? I'm just going to gain life. And, you know, that's pretty crazy. Again, you can play around this card, which is cool, but I think it's pretty nuts. One thing I'll say for sure, I do not see this as a main deck card at all. I think this will be a card that people will put in the side deck. It'll definitely be a counter to, like, when they know their opponent's playing like an FTK or something that burns them. It'll be there just, you know, to gain life. And against these crazy combo decks, like, think about Rongo, you guys. Think about how long it takes to get to Rongo. And I know some people have the quick way, but think about all the monsters you special summon you go through. Like, okay, you can just drop this, and then your opponent has to decide, do I go for Rongo, do I don't go for Rongo? They have to decide at that point, can I still Rongo you, and can I still beat you in a matter of turns, or are you just going to have so many life points that I can't do anything before my Rongo exhausts its materials and then you come back? That's going to be really interesting, and I think that's where the application is going to be if Rongo survives the next couple lists before this card comes out. I'm shocked that this is the new hand trap. It's definitely not what I expected, and I mean, I'm a little disappointed, to be honest. If I am giving my honest opinion, I am a little disappointed. I do like it for the counteracts, again, to FTKs and to burn loop decks, etc. But overall, it could have been a lot better. And unfortunately, it's going to be abused here. The OCG, they don't have the time rule thing. We have the time rule. sucks for us. For them, they don't care. Yeah, they have the Gandor FTK or whatever it is, but they can just use this card, and then, I mean, it doesn't matter. It's a direct counter to it, but it's not the be-all, end-all like it is out here in the TCG. But this is our new hand trap, you guys. You know, shout out to Yu-Gi-Oh! Organization. I'll have the link down below. What do you guys think? This card wants to be the new Maxx. It wants to be so hard, but you know what? It's not Maxx. What do you guys think? Give me your thoughts in the comments below. Do you like the card? Do you not like the card? How do you feel we're going to abuse this card besides the time rules? What decks can main deck this? Or do you I think every deck will side deck this as long as, you know, the card exists, as long as the time rules exist. Konami, do something about the time rules because they're trash, and cards like this are just going to make it even worse. So those are my honest thoughts. If you like this discussion, give it a thumbs up. 50 plus likes lets me know you guys enjoy these discussions. If you do, let me know. There'll definitely be something that I'll try to include here on the channel. But anyways, Null Nun and Blooming Dogwood. That's some crazy ass name. It'll probably change here in the TCG, but that's its name right now. It's a nun. Yeah, that's our new hand trap. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below, and yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Thank you for watching.